as we take a look, more and more about how we can see, and that's what we're looking at today. You will only see when how would you complete that statement? And we're at the point of the story of Noah and the ark, where the floodwaters are receding, and this is the part where the first little mountaintops start to appear. And easiest way I think to think of it for our context is think of it in terms of icebergs. Think of icebergs, and you just see the very, very tippy top. So that's what I want to do is I want to read that part of the Bible and then talk a little bit about ways you might be able to see that are kind of fun. The first day of the month, the heads of the mountains appeared. Now, what does that mean? What is that all about? What that is, those are those first things we start to see. And listen to this perspective. Those first things we start to see from a perspective that is loving and kind and good. Loving and kind and good. So we start to see from the eye of love. We start to see that way. Now, it's really interesting, I think, when we look at this, that we start to see from the eye of love, and then we just see the start, right? When you look at it mathematically, like this is just an iceberg thing, is icebergs, we only see the top 10%, and then 90% is under the water. And I think so much of seeing, really, really trying to see people is understanding, number one, we never see the whole picture. We never see the whole picture. That's why one of the most beautiful quotes, one of the truest quotes, is we are all fighting a great battle, so be kind to everyone you meet. That is just about as rock solid a truth as you will find. So as you're walking through life, just notice, right? All those people around you, they all have some battle in their mind that they're fighting. And it may not be front and center for them, but they have them. And they have that experience they have some experience that they're wrestling with. So that's true. So we never see the whole person. But when we see the eye of love, when we see from the eye of love, we will see we will start to see this really cherished, really beautiful part of their lives. We will start to see from love. Now, I was thinking through that. Like, it's hard to get great language around it for me this morning if I'm stumbling a little bit over words. But I think about it. I think about like the eye chart, which is what I used for the graphic for today's service. The eye chart is sort of the big letter, and then it goes down to the really tiny small print. And it's easy to see the big letter, but can you really see the small print? That's the question. And I think that's so much the spiritual journey. It is easy to see the big giant letter E right at the top of the chart. And I think for a lot of people, it's easy to see kind of the big grand thing that they do. And some people are very good at that kind of thing. It's very, very apparent, what the goodness they're trying to serve in their life and in their communities are. For most people, though, the goodness that you may experience in them is far further down the eye chart. It's far more in the fine print. It's far more in the subtle little things that they consistently do. And that's where real spiritual life, real spiritual sight comes. The big letter at the top is easy. The other ones, it takes a little bit more concentration, a little bit clearer sight, a little bit more kind of leaning into it. And when you do, you will see that 10%. Again, there's this other 90% we know nothing about, probably will never know nothing about. But it really starts to make a difference. Folks, just put it to you this way. Like, I mean, just how good does it feel for you when you feel like somebody's really seen you? I mean, really seen you. Seeing you in a way that they're able to go like, oh boy, I can't imagine, that looks really hard. Or able to see you in terms of something that they share that is something that you do that you didn't think anybody noticed. I know I was out with a friend last weekend, and they commented on a certain way I used language that they really appreciate. Well, it's a part of language I really try to be deliberate about. And they noticed, and that made a huge difference. And I think that's what we want to do. We want to notice kind of the fine print down there at the bottom. And it takes attentiveness to do that. Don't discount the fine print because there's no big letter E at the top of the chart. For many people, there's not a big letter E day in and day out. For most of us, life is pretty mundane. We're kind of scrambling through to do the best we can. We're all fighting great battles. And yet there will be this consistent little thing that makes a huge difference. It could be the family that decides every day to just have dinner together, and they're going to make that happen in all its mundaneness and all its beauty. It could be just the person. I mean, I was out on a walk this morning, and there's a person I consistently pass, and the person always says, "Good morning, have a great day." I don't know who this person is at all, but it's sort of part of my morning routine, and it makes a difference. It's in the fine print, right? I think back to my grandparents. My grandparents had a nursing home that my parents eventually took over, and the people who stayed there were not patients, they were not residents. They weren't referred to that way. They were referred to as guests. And even they had these little tablets, and I wish I'd saved them actually, these little tablets for taking orders at meals and just writing different things down. This is sort of pre-internet time, and they were always labeled guest at the top. And I loved that, right? That became more and more true. So they had a successful business because that's how they approached life. It was in that fine print, that word guest, again, where you could read it in that fine print and get to the thoughtfulness that was behind that. And that's, folks, what we really want to try to do. So today, let today, as hopefully the floodwaters can recede enough, and you can find a place to look out at the world with love, even if it's just a little bit, and see if you can catch that 10%, and catch that 10% in the world, catch that 10% in other people. Read the fine print today. Please read the fine print today. Read the fine little things that just make a world of difference. And don't be disappointed that there's not the big letter E all the time, because, friends, there's not. There's just not. I mean, there's so much beauty to be discovered in the fine print of life. And that's kind of where we want to settle. That's where we want to sort of hold our day as we start to move out of the floods and start to see the world in a new way. So dear friends, may you have a day of reading the fine print, reading that 10%, seeing the top of the iceberg, however you want to see it. And when you notice it in someone, think about even commenting to them like, "Boy, I really appreciate that you use this language," or I really just appreciate you. I know how hard you work on that day in and day out. That makes an immense difference. And again, it's just mundane. Even the most simple looking tasks that somebody does consistently, there's a lot of grace in watching people who do very simple things very consistently, because inevitably they're doing them from love and a sense of helping other people. So friends, that's the thought for today. It's in the fine print. There you go. And yeah, and that's where we'll learn. Now get back to the title. You will only see it when you see from love. You only see it when you see the fine print. All right, friends. So what we're going to do now is we're going to transition. And if you're joining us for the first time, we transition now into a little meditation, a little prayer, a little blessing, and then we do a last transition into looking at comments on social media on New Church Live's Facebook page. So with that, friends, let's get a little breath. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am. Be still and know that I. Be still and know that. Be still and know. Be still and. Be still. Be. Our Father, who art in the heavens, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, as in heaven, so upon the earth. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we also forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. Amen. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon you, bring you peace, and bring you home. Amen. All right, dearest friends, let's take a little look here at what the comments are this morning. And again, I hope everybody's doing incredibly well. All right, a lot of comments here. All right, so let's work through these here. Jen, good morning to you, my friend. Good to see you joining us this morning. Patricia, always wonderful to see that heart there. Such a beautiful reminder. Joy, of the person with the best first name. I love that name, Joy. Great to see you joining us this morning. Kim, good morning to you, my friend. Marcus, always great to have you with us, buddy. Sherry, I hope you're doing well. Sue writes, good morning, and good morning to you. And Marcus, great reminders. It really is, Marcus, and it's kind of fun. I don't know, like it's so interesting when you start to see the fine print in other people's lives. It's all over the place. I mean, just all over the place. I can tell you story after story of that. You especially see it, by the way, when as a pastor, when you do memorial services and you hear about the little things people do for each other. It's really pretty incredible. And Betty writes, good morning. Have a great day. Same to you too, Betty. And now let's flip over onto my Facebook page, see if there's some things there. All right. Okay, some comments over there. All right. Linda, good morning to you, my friend. And good morning to you, Maria. Tina, great to see you joining us this morning. Paige, good morning to you, my friend. And I saw, Paige, you just sent me a little song, which is fun. I look forward to listening to that. Grace and kindness, and Sherry writes, grace and kindness are a wonderful gift to give to everyone. Have a great day all. And it is, and there you go, right? It's a great way to close it. So learn to read the fine print in others and learn to practice the fine print in yourselves. And that'll be our thought for today. So friends, God bless. Have a simply wonderful day. Wishing you all the very best. Take care. Bye-bye.